Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are back with more Unreal World today. This is Canute's Redemption, or the Hermit Challenge series. And if you're new, just tuning in, I've got a link to the full playlist down in the description for you. But we join our hero here, and he is standing outside the mouth of a cave. But this is not the Caveman series, although I've done a Caveman run before very recently. All my previous stuff is linked down below too in the description. So if you get caught up with this series and you want more Unreal World content, I've got a bunch of it. But with this one, we are just up here in the vast wilderness of no man's land, literally as far away from civilized cultures as we can get. And we're just trying to start things out from the ground up. We only have the clothes on our back, plus a couple of stone tools that we made when we arrived here. Oh, and we were also granted a fishing rod from the gods, so that was a nice little surprise. I think part of Canute's redemption is that the gods have smiled on him for his change of heart, and so we must keep in alignment with the spirit realm. And of course, we're going to want to sacrifice as much as we can. We do have a blood stanching incantation too, which is really nice. But anyway, that's all aside the point. I think right now the task for today, we will return to camp. Canute is currently just south of his little makeshift camp up here. What are the big steps we need to start progression with tools and forging and blacksmithing is the shovel. We have to make a wooden shovel, and of course we're going to have to carve that out of a tree that we'll chop with our stone axe. So of course only having stone tools makes things extremely difficult, time consuming, but luckily we've got a little bit of food from a recent kill, so shouldn't be impossible. And if we get hungry, we can just go out there and hopefully land ourselves another big elk. But let's, like I said, return home, being very careful not to stumble in any bears or wolf packs. Those can be deadly, especially this far from any civilized help. So we will head home and see what we can do about making a shovel. And we have returned back to the campsite here. We can see our old suit of armor laying on the ground, fully laid out and displayed. Of course, we will never touch this again. Canute has forsworn all combat. In fact, hunting itself, I think, is something he might abstain from time to time and strictly focus on trying to develop his fishing skill. Now, of course, when necessity demands, we might have to kill a large animal like the elk we did previously, which we've still got, over close to 30 pounds of meat here, so that's good. Now, speaking of weight, it was pointed out to me that Canute was wearing quite a bit of gear, and even after we stripped down the armor that he had on, yeah, I took a few things off because I think I was wearing close to 90 pounds of gear. So we were in full battle and winter regalia, but as time bears closer and closer to the midsummer point, we can ditch more and more clothes, and eventually we'll just strip down to probably a leather suit, for the height of summer. And we'll just hunt in as little weight as possible, obviously. Now, thankfully, we've got that fishing rod. We haven't tried it just yet. I think we should focus on that shovel. Yeah, we don't need food, so let's take advantage of the little bit of a rest period here we've got and do some crafting. Now, I've got a log currently at my feet, but that's used right now for preparing skin, so I want to keep that one essentially untouched. But I think what we'll do is we'll just try and cut down this tree right here in front of the shelter. Might as well. I could spend time searching around looking for another fallen tree, but we've got the stone axe and it should do the trick. There we go. So we got ourselves another nice big... I'm going to go ahead and move this big tree trunk on top of the other one. Now we can stand in our shelter here and we'll just craft away. So let's go to, I believe it's lumber. No. Okay, actually, I'm mistaken. I think we just want the regular Timbercraft menu. Yeah. So we've got a split trunk into boards. No. Split firewood. Chop a felled tree into blocks. That's what we want. Unless things have changed, because that does sometimes happen. considering that Unreal World is still continuously updated to this day. Things are tweaked in additions, removals, but ultimately I hope it's the same process for making a shovel. So let's repeat the last command. Pretty laborious process here. And it even tells us the stone axe is an awkward tool. So yeah, that means we're not going to be the most efficient at this. But oh boy, look at this. The meat's already going stale. Yeah, you know that means that the warm weather has set. You can see by our temperature gauge up here. That's unfortunate, but we knew some of that meat might go bad. We just, like I said, have to make the most of it. So now that we have got ourselves some blocks, 7 of them, let's have a little bit of a rest because he is weary. So I'll see you guys. Probably it's going to be the middle of the night when he wakes up. Well, good morning, everybody, or I should say good early evening. That's right, Canute slept through most of the afternoon, and now he's got his schedule off, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Let's see here. So, he got himself a nice little drink of lake water, and we do have a bag of water here, but I probably won't carry this around until winter when it's a bit less convenient just to access fresh water. But anyway, let's continue on with our crafting. Now we want to go to utility articles, and we're looking specifically for the wooden shovel. There are options to make, I don't think it's here. Yeah, there are options to make the metal shovel, but of course we need blacksmithing for that. The shovel blade itself. Okay, so let me locate it. It might be in lumber or another one of the carpentry trees. Let's see. Here we go. Wooden shovel. Yep. So it requires a block, an axe, which we have, an axe, which we have, and a knife, which we have. So they're not the best tools, but we're going to give this a try. Takes him several hours. Yep, most of the night he's going to be up. Looks like it's snowing again. Well, and he didn't quite finish it, but we're too fatigued, so we will rest, and he's getting very hungry. We better gobble down this stale meat before it's too turned for us to eat. All right, and we'll just repeat the task to pick up our crafting where we left off. And boom, we did it. Look at that. It only took him about 6 hours or so. Now we're going to go ahead and eat again because he's starving. And of course, it's early morning. Time for bed. Let's have him step over here and take a drink. Beautiful. Well, let's take a quick look at the shovel we just made up before we do go to bed. There it is. Inferior wooden shovel. So quality, it does make a difference. But for us and our purposes early on, that's primo. That's totally fine. We definitely will try and improve the quality down the road, but just to get started, this will work. I'm not going to lie, it happened a bit quicker than I expected, but the meat has spoiled, so it wasn't too terrible. We only lost about 12 cuts or so, plus what was ever in the bag, which just disappears whenever you unload it. But there's 28 branches here. We're going to start this on fire. Give a little burnt offering to the gods there, but nonetheless, now comes the hard part. We crafted the shovel. We've got to find ore. So if we zoom out to the world map, this is where we locate it on this screen here. We want to go to crafting menu one more time, down to mining and iron. There's a couple of options here. Harvest cliff ore, harvest mountain bog ore, or scoop lake ore. All 3 of these will essentially give us the same thing, iron ore, which we can then follow the process, which it is a process too, trust me, if you've never done it with this particular mod set, because what we're exploring now in terms of, this is not part of the vanilla game. This is all included in the BAC mod. But it's a lot of fun. Like I say, it's an ordeal, but once you get that stuff crafted, it's very satisfying. So I have had the best luck with number 2, harvesting mountain bog ore. Now when we select this, and we'll just say 1, we need to be zoomed out, okay, which we are. And it's asking for a cutting tool to cut peat layer and a shovel. So I think it wants our knife. It says we need to be zoomed out. Hold on, let's puzzle through this. Okay, it's not that. I think we are, so let's skip it. We are in a mire, for the most part, yeah. Not to use on frozen ground. Doesn't meet the requirements. Okay, so that's what we're trying to discern is what areas do. Now, I'm not worried about hunting birds right now. What we do want is a mountainside next to a mire, which fortunately, since we're so far north in this region, there are plenty of mountains. I don't know if this qualifies, but let's try this. We're going to repeat the command, and I'll just hit escape a couple of times. No, doesn't meet the requirements, so we'll just try this mountain over here. This, like I said, is the hard part. No? Keep going. Want to... As I recall, we do need to be on the mountain for this. Maybe that's not entirely true. I'll try it next to the mountains as well. So we'll repeat, just do one. Not yet. So you can see it is a bit tricky. This one looks a bit more promising to me since it's directly adjacent to an open pine mire. Let's try this one here. Setting you required does not meet the requirements. Darn it. Well, it could be too that the ground is still frozen. Maybe that's the hiccup here. Let's zoom in. And if we just move off the mountaintop real quick, we should be able to attempt with our shovel to just dig a hole. Where's the exit from this mountaintop? Sometimes it's tricky to find these, but maybe I shouldn't have zoomed in on top of the mountain itself. Yeah, let's go in here to the pine mire. Here we go. So let's activate our shovel. It's not possible the ground... Oh, okay. It's not because it's frozen. It's the wrong type of land. So we are going to need to... probably climb the slopes here of this little mountain. And let's try that again. Activate the shovel. See, it is allowing me to dig a pit. So apparently the ground is not frozen. I think I just need to be a bit more thorough with my search. Have more patience, give it time. So I'm going to try several of the mountains in the region until I have some luck. Aha! We have done it. Didn't even take that long. Found a spot between two mountains here, and I'm not on the mountain. I'm actually on the bog. And everything is good. The shovel is now highlighted. This is the first time it's happened in this run, so boom, there we go. And we obtained a decent ore piece. Let's see, there it is. 1.2 pounds of ore. Very interesting. Of course, it's a modded thing, so there's no info in the encyclopedia there, but it is viable iron ore, the beginning of our rise from the Stone Age into the iron. Of course, we're going to skip bronze altogether and copper, but those aren't in this. Let's see now. Oh, yeah, without having any food, we are probably going to go into starvation again. Now, it's great that we've located this ore, and I'm definitely going to come here and we will mark this. Oops. Let's see here. Oh, it's A, that's right. I'm already forgetting stuff. I'll change the color of that so we can know that it's a little bit different. We'll just say iron ore found. And that's exciting. So we'll put an exclamation mark there. Enter, escape. There it is. So we've located the spot. In fact, we're pretty close to our camp, but I might end up just making this my camp. We'll investigate the area too, who knows. It might be worthy of a permanent base. It's hard to say that without really looking around, but sometimes, especially in these little valleys, the little nooks between two mountains like this, yeah, this could be an interesting spot here. I kind of like this. We're on a kind of a raised plateau in the center, so there's one of the peaks up there. No, let's not do any climbing. Yeah, there's one peak to the northwest, and if we move to the south a little bit, yeah, we see the other peak. So we're situated here nicely between two mountains, and of course we have access to the iron just down below. Now it needs to be on the world map, but that's not a factor. This is good. There's actually a little bit of water right here too. I like this spot, guys. It's pretty close to our other, but that's okay because we can just essentially abandon that spot and take up permanent residence. Look, there's a log here ready to go too. The only downside that I see right now is a lack of trees. And you may say, well, there's trees everywhere. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but a lot of these are small sapling trees, essentially, are not fully developed. And the ones that are, I guess there's a decent amount. They're just kind of spread out. Because if you're unfamiliar with the cabin building process in this game, it takes quite a bit of tree trunks and logs to create even just one piece of wall. So it's an investment in time and resources. But there are ways of getting it. We can always find a nearby water source and float some logs to us, but ultimately, this might be just enough. We're going to have to clear cut this forest at some point. But like I mentioned, that doesn't happen until we get those axes, and even a couple other metal tools would be really helpful. So we're just in the planning stages, but I do like this location. Our nutrition level is not quite to starvation yet, but it is going to set in again at this point. So we have returned from our little mountain shelter, well, soon to be shelter, to the old shelter here. Now, of course, we got some traps set up. So let's check these. Bunch of nothing. I might leave them up, though, because it's still pretty close to home, our new home to be. Now, look at this. I just saw a bird on the world map, but not in our traps, unfortunately. So there's the shelter. It's kind of tucked away over here in the edge of this forest. It's a good spot, but I am going to take the armor and we'll remove it and put it back. I'm not going to wear it, but we're going to put it back into its position at our new home. And of course, everything here pretty much needs to come with me. We're not going to be able to take all the tree trunks and stuff, but these will stay. What I like to do typically is leave a shelter like this up. I'm not going to necessarily disassemble this, or use its resources. There's plenty of wood and sticks in the forest, so this will be kind of an impromptu camp. If we get an emergency, there's a little bit of firewood here, and it also serves as a nice little hunting, area, place to sleep if it's rainy while we're out and about. So, yeah, let me see if I can pick up all this stuff. There we go. Yep, so once we get everything back there, I'm going to have to build a shelter because we haven't done that yet. But come to think of it, he's weary. So let's spend the last night here. Actually, it'll be the last day because it's early morning, but we'll sleep. And he is probably going to go into starvation levels or be pretty darn close to it. That bar is changing, getting redder and redder. Not quite there, but yeah, it's good though, because the elk that we did kill, it recovered us fully from starvation. So right now we don't have any penalties, but they are going to start setting in. So let's zoom out. We should have everything on us. The good thing about Canute, even though he no longer engages in war and combat, he's still built for it, so he can haul lots of stuff. Now we just spotted an elk. I'm a little bit hesitant to go for the elks, to be honest with you. I'd love to, but we're just not set up for it. We can't do any drying right now or smoking. We don't have the facilities for that. I'm thinking I might attempt to whip together a cellar if I can, with my new shovel, if I can get a couple boards put together with the axe we've got. And yeah, we could definitely dig a cellar. Now, it's not going to guarantee that the meat stays perfectly fresh, but it would give us a better opportunity, more time to spend processing. But either way, you get it. It makes sense. So that'll be something we need to prioritize. But first, shelter. So let's have ourselves a little drink. Yeah, this little spring right here is extremely helpful. Having that right there, I love it. That, I think, is ultimately what decided it for me. The close access to water, even though we're at the top of a mountain, basically, or in between two. So let's stop chit-chatting and get to the working. I'm going to drop off some of the resources I brought. And the hard part's going to be finding some spruce twigs, but it's not going to be that difficult. After establishing his new shelter, Canute climbed to the top of Boulder Mountain just northwest of his new home and has gently laid out all his previous war gear, where it will now remain forever at the top of this mountain. Say goodbye to it, Canute, and your old life of violence. Now we descend off the mountain, leaving behind our old ways and entering a brand new existence here in the valley where it's nice and green. There's our wonderful little shelter just underneath this small sapling tree. We've got all the resources we've collected, and he is very hungry. It's official. He is now starving. I've also... Ooh, there's an elk just there. Boy, oh boy, that's looking tasty to a starving man. I know I said I wouldn't, but there's just enough light. Canute is tired, although his endurance levels are in a good shape. Let's give this a try. See if the spirits of nature grant us this blessing or not. We need to go to full zoom. Let's take a look at the animal. Small bull elk, that is fortunate. We still haven't established that cellar, but since it's small, maybe it's less likely we'll waste it, if we actually happen to catch this one. Now, it is sprinting, so let's put some pressure on it. Oh, darn. Looks like it's running towards the forest over here. That's not ideal. Yeah, okay. It took a turn. Wonderful. Up, and it's heading back. Where's it going? Lead me on a crazy chase here. Yeah, our visibility is not perfect right now. Unfortunately, since we can't see the edge of the map, that is because of the dark, low-light conditions. Honestly, this hunt might be better left off until the morning. If we don't spot her or him again. Yeah, because at this point... Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, let's jump to it. Still not fatigued. Yeah, without that maximum visibility. We've got him in a good position. That's the problem. There are forests around us, but we've got open fields here for a little bit. Alright, he's still not spooked by our presence. There he goes. Let's try and sprint after him a little bit. Oh, good. We're getting him into the water country here where there's ponds. The animals often get themselves trapped or confused. Let's look at him. There we go. Starting to get a little bit fatigued. Although that is just the start of it, it is what we want to see. Alright, I'm going to sprint. I don't know how far. There he is. Oh, we're at negative 60%. I really need to watch my endurance levels. Goes down. As we walk, we recover our breath, but we do need to be able to sprint after him at times. Alright, so he's kind of circling back around, retracing his steps, which is not great for us. Starts to clutter up his own tracks like that. It makes it very difficult. Still only a little bit fatigued. I'm going to sprint after him. Just, there we go, until we lose sight, and then I start walking again. And I'm just going to head to the location where I saw him last. Follow those tracks. Okay, see, starting to split off, and the tracks are getting cluttered now. Yep, there's plenty of them going in different directions. You can sometimes discern which ones are the freshest, though, depending on how dark they appear. Alright, we can also take readings of the tracks, too, like that. Well, we get a little dialogue notification, very small, leading northwest. So that's helpful. Let's continue. There he is. Still only a little bit fatigued. I'd love to see it graduate to the next stage, which is fatigued, which is the middle level, essentially. Alright, let's put on the afterburners and spook him. Alright, there we go. Start walking again. I'm going to go into stealth. Maybe we can get a little closer to it next time. Oh, there it is. There he is. Oh, look at that, too. I think the moon just came up or something because we've got maximum visibility all of a sudden. Yeah, we must be in the midst of a full moon or close to. Either way, that's fortunate for us. There's also some droppings on the ground, too. I've been trying to make it a point to collect these right here. That will help us once we'll start to cultivate foods. Alright, let's approach. We're still in stealth mode. Beautiful. Ooh. Oh, he trapped himself on that little peninsula for a moment, but not long enough. Alright, I got the elk droppings. He did officially see me, so my stealth is broken. But... okay, now it looks like visibility is diminished again. Maybe I was mistaken there, but... whew, man. This is an intense struggle. Come on. Damn it. Look at that. It's not even fatigued a little bit anymore. Shoot. That means it's recovered, and we have to start the process over. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Let me see, where are we exactly? We're not far from our shelter at all. Like, really close. Oh, that reminds me, I should probably go ahead and delete this one. Now we'll leave that up, because like I said, the shelter's still there, so we'll use it in the future. It is on the edge of a pretty nice little hunting ground. The darker green represents the flat, open areas, whereas the lighter stuff represents mountains and tree, densely packed forest. Either way, I'm tempted to give up and try again in the morning. Sometimes that is the best bet. We'll just turn our back on that small bull elk, exit the map, and let's head home for the night. Good morning, everybody, once again. We are at the end of seed time month right now. We are on the 3rd day of the 7th week before midsummer point, and the days are definitely getting warmer and warmer. Right now we are working on whipping up some boards, so I think before we go out and do any hunting, it is really incumbent upon us as good hunters that we stay in the balance of nature and try not to spoil our food. So we're going to see what we can do. I mean, in order to smoke food, which is what we would do to long-term preserve during the hot months, we need a cabin, somewhere with an enclosed space, and a little shelter like this just doesn't cut it, unfortunately. Now, during the winter months, we can dry food outdoors, so that's more convenient, but winter's, of course, more difficult to survive. Nonetheless, let's stay focused here. He is starving, but we can handle it for a little while. That's part of the will and determination to live, putting off what seems to be so relentless, the hunger in our gut, and planning for the future. So we need to go ahead and repeat the task, make some boards. This is another really long, laborious task, in part because our stone axe is a very unhandy tool. So once we start making axes out of metal, which will be a big priority, this kind of work right here will definitely go quicker. And of course, if we had food, it would go quicker too. But let me get these whipped up real quick. Oh boy, well that took multiple days, not even gonna lie. Of course, the starvation is not making things easier. But we've got some boards here now. Let's look at them. 10 poor boards. Oh, that's unfortunate. Boards are one of those few resource items that you can make quality. Like, usually if you chop up, slender trunks, there's no quality. But boards do have quality, and it affects the outcome of your crafting. Nonetheless, I think with the cellar, it's not going to make a bit of difference. But let's see. I'll probably just put it right here. Super close. There it is, cellar. Okay, so I need 5 trunks, slender trunks. I can get those. Oh, actually, I need 1 more. 10 stones. I've already accumulated the stones, so let's cut down this tree right here. Alright, that should do it. They can just be sitting close by. I'm going to actually rest, recover, be cellar. Well, maybe they do need to be right under my feet. I thought we could just do it from a distance, but some things are like that, some aren't. Oh, I need even more. Oh my gosh. I'm misreading the menu here telling me. Alright, that's not to worry. It's been a while since I played. I'm already still struggling to get the hotkeys down, but it'll get there. That's part of the fun. Alright, PC. Some of it. Oh, and my shovel. Should have remembered. It's out here on the world map. Yeah, I left that ore in the shovel here. Just figured I wouldn't need it. Of course, I was wrong. Alright, and one more time. Boom, there we go. So a cellar's a pretty easy thing to make. Once you get that shovel, even if it's wooden and inferior quality, it might take you a couple days or a couple tries at least to do it. There we go. I think the cellar is ultimately, a lot quicker than making the boards. So there we go. You can see it's just a little compartment where we will drop foods whenever we get them. I'm going to drop some stuff here. I really don't need to carry around this bag. The bag of water, I mean. Shovel, I'll drop that back on the world map. Also the fishing rod, it's nice, but I don't need to carry it with me if we're going to go hunting. Because like I said, now that we've got that cellar, we can put our eyes on the bigger game, I think. And hopefully we can pull ourselves out of starvation long enough to begin the blacksmithing process. But what we'll do, guys, is we'll end today's episode right here. And on the next one, we are going to immediately jump into the hunt. So I hope you'll be prepared for a little bit of excitement. At least I hope that's what's going to happen. And, of course, hit that like button for me if you're enjoying the videos. Subscribe if you're a new viewer. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching the video, everybody. I just want to take a moment to recognize my Patreons. As you can see, I put their names in gold because they are, in fact, more precious than that shiny metal. Now, I'd like to take a moment to invite you to also support the channel for as little as $2, $5, or $10. You gain access to all my content early and ad-free over on Patreon, as well as a private Discord server with me and my other Patreons where we do some giveaways and have great conversations. But once again, thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.